Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. It's like music in my ears every time I hear that name. Alright, what's going on, everyone? Hope your day's going well so far, and if it isn't, man, hopefully today's video will cheer you up. As always, if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, be sure to watch this video to the very end. It helps me out a lot, and I can continue to make more content for you guys. So Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. This game has to be like one of the most anticipated, most hyped Dragon Ball games that we've had since probably Xenoverse 2, honestly. I remember when Xenoverse 2 beta was out, the servers were so overpopulated that most couldn't even log into the game. You know, like left and right, there was non-stop Xenoverse 2 information being released on the internet, you know, as well as many of the YouTubers making so much content about the game. It's like no matter where you looked or where you went, all you would see is Xenoverse 2. Or at least that's what it felt like to me. So, since the original Budokai released back in, I believe, November of 2004, you know, Dragon Ball has been getting a lot of its popularity back. You know, Dragon Ball has always been popular, but, you know, once it ended after the Buu saga, things just slowed down a lot for the franchise. But once we started getting a new Dragon Ball game year after year until the release of Battle of Gods, you know, Dragon Ball has been in an upward spiral in terms of popularity. You know, the reason why I mentioned Battle of Gods is because, you know, that movie really put Dragon Ball back on the radar. You know, many people, including myself, you know, we were anticipating a new anime to be released, and to our surprise, we got Dragon Ball Super. I know a lot of people can argue whether Dragon Ball Super is good or not, but hey, Dragon Ball content is, you know, and Dragon Ball and more Dragon Ball, just can't get enough Dragon Ball, right? So whether it's good or bad, I'll take it, you know? Well, that being said, the reason why Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is actually the most hyped Dragon Ball game of all time is not only do we have Dragon Ball Super characters, which we didn't have back in the day when the original Tenkaichi games were released, you know, we're now getting the best possible character roster any Dragon Ball game has ever seen. And to top it all off, you know, we're getting the best 3D fighting game mechanics in a Dragon Ball game, period. When I say the best fighting game mechanics, you know, Bandai themselves even stated that this game will be a continuation of Dragon Ball Tenkaichi 3. And do I need to say more on how awesome and amazing that game is in terms of gameplay mechanics? I mean, you can argue that Xenoverse has some pretty good gameplay mechanics, but what Xenoverse lacks, Tenkaichi makes up for it. Now, yes, we know Tenkaichi is outdated, you know, it being a PS2 game and all, but just imagine taking Tenkaichi 3, the most popular Dragon Ball game of all time, and remastering it and calling it Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Like I said, music to my ears. But if you disagree, let me know in the comments what's your favorite DBZ game. Now, most of you know, or at least I hope most of you know, that Dragon Ball is getting its 40th anniversary this year. You know, that in itself is also going to be a huge selling point for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. You know, the amount of support this game has been getting in the last couple months is only going to get even more support, more news, more advertisements, and hopefully more trailers and screenshots. Because we all love our screenshots, you know what I'm saying? Dragon Ball, the franchise, being 40 years old, you know, this game being released as such a benchmark for the Dragon Ball franchise, you know, it's just icing on the cake for this game. You know, you also know that Dragon Ball Daima is being released next year as well. Not sure if it's going to be a worldwide release or just in Japan first, but, you know, it's the fact that we're getting a whole new Dragon Ball series, you know, whether people like it or not, is definitely a huge selling point for this game. To put it in perspective, Sparking Zero is what you call being in the right place at the right time. You know, this is also the first Dragon Ball game to be released on next-gen PS5, as well as the Xbox Series, you know, X and S. And that is actually a pretty big deal because for the longest time, I felt maybe Bandai was afraid to release a Dragon Ball game on the next-gen consoles for some odd reason. You know, my thinking was, how many people actually have a PS5? You know, I know a lot of people have an Xbox, but I remember PS5, you know, being like shorted. It was really hard for people to get a PS5, so that could be like one of the reasons why they were not releasing anything Dragon Ball related just for PS5. But I mean, I don't know how big the Xbox community is for Dragon Ball. I do know that on PlayStation, you know, that's where like the game tends to shine with this audience, at least from what I've seen and all the research that I've done. And, you know, many of the YouTubers seem to be playing Dragon Ball on PlayStation. I mean, if you know an Xbox Dragon Ball YouTuber, let me know. But everyone I've seen has just been, you know, PlayStation. But one of the main things pushing this game is going to be the release of the Dragon Ball Super storyline. Now, it's not 100% confirmed that Dragon Ball Super storyline will be in the game, but Tenkaichi does a really good job when it comes to showing the Dragon Ball story, and I'm pretty confident that Dragon Ball Sparking Zero will have the Dragon Ball Super storyline, and I'm more excited to play it. You know, and that's also one of the reasons as to why this is going to be the most hype, and actually is the most hype Dragon Ball game of all time. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in this comment, in the comments below. What are you most excited for when it comes to Dragon Ball Sparking Zero? You know, is it the large character roster, maybe the story mode, the online PvP? You know, tell me, because I want to hear from you guys. You know, but with that being said, I appreciate all you wonderful people watching. See y'all in the next video. Take care, guys.